Megan, darling. So, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm wearing lipstick today. Mwah! So Interview with a Vampire. How about that? Yeah. I do have a question. Do we have different versions? Because in mine, Babette wasn't a former slave of Louis. He was... This is what happened. She lived on a neighboring plantation, and her brother got in a duel with some other guy, and he went to the duel, and he won, and Lestat wanted to kill him, and Louis tried his best to stop Lestat from killing him, but when the guy was coming back from the duel, he won, and Lestat was... The thing is, Lestat wanted to kill this guy really badly, like really badly, and Louis always said don't, because he has a whole family to support, and he's like the man, and he's the only one who can run the plantation because he's a man, so automatically they're smarter, and he's like, don't kill him, and then when he found out that that he was dueling, he's like, he's gonna die anyway if I don't kill him first, and Louis is like, don't, give him a chance, and then he wins, and then the guy kills him anyway, and he's like, you douchebag. He has a whole family to support. And, anyway, he's dead, and he knows that one of his sisters, Babette, is the only one who's, like, level-headed enough to... Level-headed, is that the right word? She's definitely smart, but she's the only one who's, like, down-to-earth and, like, reasonable and, you know... What's the word I'm thinking? Realistic! And just, you know, strong enough to handle everything. So he comes to her in the middle of the night and convinces her to not give up and to, you know, take over the plantation instead of just giving up and being like, we're screwed. So he does that, and she becomes like it's really scandalous having a woman running the plantation, but she handles it really well because she throws a charity ball and stuff, and he's like come to her at night to visit her, and before, like, after that, just to like help her out, make sure she's doing fine, and he sometimes just like watches her to make sure she's happy, and when she goes to his house, he has kind of a crush on her, I'd say, because, I mean, he says he loves her, not, like, passionately, like, not, like, the most you can love someone, but he did have feelings for her, so, I think he just wanted her to be happy, but then she's like, get thee behind me, Satan, and his feelings are hurt by that, and then she throws a lantern at him and tries to light him on fire. Anyway, I'm just wondering if we have different versions, because in mine, that's what happened, and you said in yours she was a former slave or something, but... Not in mine. Anyway, so Lestat, I think he's a sociopath, honestly. I'm gonna diagnose him right now with sociopath. I guess antisocial personality disorder is the diagnosis term, but it's just more commonly referred to as sociopath. Here's a little lesson in psychology. Sociopaths are basically not capable of emotion, like love or anything. I mean, I think they can feel sorry for themselves. I'm pretty sure they can feel sorry for themselves and, like, I don't know, that kind of thing, but they can't feel for anyone else. They cannot empathize with anyone. It's just like, and so, I don't know, the way Lestat is where he'll, like, watch someone die with, like, a cold, lifeless expression in his eyes makes me think that maybe he's a sociopath. Ooh, plot twist. He's not just a vampire, he's a sociopathic vampire. And his old man, blind dad guy is, probably had something to do with it, because, I mean, he committed some great disgrace against him, and he says it's about burning his books and not letting him finish school, but just the way Lestat is, like, burning my books, I'm thinking there might be a little more there. Maybe his dad was, like, abusive to him, but I'm probably reading more into this than I really should. So, Lestat, yeah, he's all messed up, and Louis is just... He's so much fun to read about, especially when he first transforms, and he talks about how, like, everything is different. Like, he'll stare at a leaf for, like, 3 hours, just like, look at that leaf, it's so pretty. I heard someone tell me that that's what it's like to be on acid. Everything is just more intense. They're like, look at that camera. Ooh. Like that. So, I don't know, that's fun. I like this book. It's probably one of the best vampire books I've read. I'm not a big fan of vampire books. I mean, I read the Twilight series in middle school, but, you know, who hasn't? I had a book of short stories in middle school that were all vampire stories. Some of them were good, some of them were bad. I remember a couple of them, but, I don't know. None of them were, like, noteworthy. Like, ooh, this is a good story. I'm gonna, like, save it and write down the title and the author of it. Not really. Nothing like that. I just remember, the one I really mainly remember is the first time I'd ever heard of a vampire who eats animal blood instead of human blood. It was this kid, he had, like, it was a medical condition instead of, like, a, ooh, you got bit. But it was transformed through, like, biting, apparently. Kind of like rabies. I don't know, it was a medical condition, not, like, a supernatural thing. And, his family would go and buy him duck or goose blood or something. And, he lived off of that. And he only needed 3 drops of human blood a day. So his family members would always, like, prick their fingers and just squeeze 3 drops of blood into his cup of goose blood. And it was just so weird that I think that's why I remembered it. There was some other one where this chick was staying with her uncle who was a vampire, and she's checking out his library, and she's reading Edgar Allan Poe stories, and he, like, takes out her hands to, like, read these, and it was, read this. It was Bram Stoker's Dracula, and I just didn't read past that because it was really poorly written, but I think that's what I remember about that one. It was really poorly written. So, I don't know. I haven't been impressed with vampire stories in the past. I like the folklore, and I like the stories about, where they came from, various ones. Like, I mean, a lot of people have vampire legends, like the really old ones, like the mythology. Like Lilith, she was like the earliest vampire. That's a Jewish folktale about the lady who I think she was Adam's first wife, I believe, and she okay, I've heard it both ways. One was that he left her for Eve, or she left him because he was fooling around with Eve behind her back or something along those lines. And she broke off from him and started eating babies or something. I think she did. I think she ate babies. But she was, like, you know, independent and stuff. I actually wrote a one act about it in 8th grade. Yeah, it was like a modern adaptation of the Lilith story, and it took place, this is kind of cool. Do you remember I suppose you don't, Calhoun Square, before it got, like, all renovated, was, like, it was set up differently. There was, like, they demolished a huge chunk of it. There was, like, this, there's a Starbucks, there's a bookstore, there was a candle store that I always really liked because there were all the pretty candles. It was a lot bigger. There were all these columns everywhere made of brick, and now it's covered in, like, plaster walls that are this ugly shade of green and stuff. But, it was set inside Calhoun Square, when it was abandoned, like, completely closed down. I don't know why I liked that setting, but the entire thing takes place inside of there. And there was, Lilith, Adam, and Satan were the 3 characters. And I think I probably threw it away at some point, but I kind of liked it. I'm gonna look for it, or try to see if I can remember how it went. I don't know. Back on topic, I'm sorry. My point is, oh, this is a good vampire story. That's my whole point. Sorry, I'm all tangent-y. It's the 3 cups of tea I drank. Yeah, I like it a lot. Lestat's an a-hole, but he's definitely interesting to read about. If he wasn't there, the story would be, I think he and Louis balance each other out really well, just in that Lestat is, like, this evil killing machine who's, like, pure evil, stereotypical evil, and Louis is the one with a soul. It's a pretty good balance. Also, I realized something. Oh my god. When he's in the room and there are the 2 dead chicks, like, it's near the end when Louis wakes up and there are 2 women in the room and Lestat kills both of them and drinks their blood, and they're having, like, this conversation while this girl is dying and stuff. And he's like, this is what we do, this is all we can do, this is in our nature, and this is the only thing that'll make you happy. It's just like My example will be Barney from How I Met Your Mother, but basically any stereotypical guy who just has endless one-night stands with women. It's like, I don't know, they have daddy issues, and then they grow up, they're unhappy with like their life for some reason, so they deal with it by having meaningless one-night stands all the time, and it's kind of like what Lestat is doing. He doesn't get attached to people, he just sucks their blood out. And I don't know, I just made that connection, and I thought that was noteworthy, but I could be completely off there. I don't know. Yeah, so far, stuff that has happened is basically, you did the recap, you always do the recap. Yeah, I like it. What do you think of, I want to know what you think of my theory about Lestat and the one-night stands and the blood drinking and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. Also, I had an idea for us. This is not related to Interview with the Vampire, but I remember when we were in your dorm and we were watching the chick reading 50 Shades of Grey and, like, insulting it. Maybe, since we're doing Interview every 2 weeks instead of every week, maybe on, like, the off days when we're not talking about Interview, we could, like, hunt down a poem or a short story or something that we think is really awful and, like, share it with each other, like, our daily dose of awful, trashy literature. I don't know, it might be fun. Instead of reading a whole bad book, it might be better to just, like, do little snippets. Like, a couple of sentences out of a short story could suffice, or a paragraph, or a poem. There are a lot of awful poems out there. I mean, seriously. So, I want to know what you think of that, and I want to come visit you again sometime soon. And I'm going to wrap this video up because I really don't have much else to say. I have the hiccups.